Hey folks, Andy here, hope you're fitting well. Right, I was recently doing some recording using that red Marshall you can see behind me. It's an old school amp, it gets loud before it gets good, and by the time I got the tone I was after, I was looking at north of 115 dB SPL in the room. And that is loud enough that it's going to start to damage your hearing after a while. It's going to make positioning your microphone really difficult because you can't properly hear the signal that you're getting back through your headphones. And it's going to make concentrating on playing when you're doing overdubs and things like that very difficult as well. So we need some kind of way that we're going to get isolation between the noise that's out in the room and what's going straight into our ears. Now, in a traditional recording studio, you could go and work in the control room and listen through the monitors. You might decide to stick your cab out into an ISO booth somewhere. But I know a lot of people are working in this sort of setup where the thing that's making the noise is in the same room as you are. So what do we do to get around that? Well, the answer's got to be obviously some kind of localized attenuation, and that basically means ear defenders or headphones. Now, close-back headphones are great. They give a fair degree of isolation from what's around, but compared with 115 dB of Marshall, they're really not going to do that much for you. I saw a rig rundown from Premier Guitar a little while ago that featured Kenny Greenberg. Now, Kenny Greenberg is a Nashville session musician, and he was talking about a set of things called Ultraphones. Ultraphones are high isolation headphones. They claim 29 dB of attenuation, so let's call it 30 dB of attenuation, and they cost $270 US. That is probably an absolute bargain for somebody who does this stuff day in, day out. But for someone like myself who's got an occasional need for it, it's quite a lot of money. The good news is, though, that Ultraphones are actually built into the shells of Peltor ear defenders. These you can buy in the UK for £20 a pair. You can walk into B&Q, which is our equivalent of Home Depot, and for 20 quid you can walk out with a set of those in olive green, 30 dB of attenuation. Now obviously these are ear defenders, they don't have any speakers in, so you've got no way of getting your signal in. But I figure that just about anyone who's ever listened to music has got a set of earbuds floating around. These are my old Sonys, they were about 20 quid when I bought them. They're not the best in the world, but you know what, we're not doing mixing and mastering on these things, we're just using them for monitoring. Now, because they've got neat little ear bits like this, they fit very neatly into your ear, and the ear defenders go over the top. They're really quite comfortable, and when I tried this, I found that they worked incredibly well. So that was a bit of a thumbs up. But whilst I was dragging about on the floor down there trying to get my mic position sorted out, I found that having this little bit of flimsy cable dragging across the floor with an extension lead on it really wasn't great. So I figured, what about wireless earbuds? Now, these are not the best in the world. They come in a really hard to open case, and they are the little stick type rather than the ones that give you like the big round thing that fits in your ear like that. So you put these in, and again, they fit very nice and neatly, and you can put your defenders over the top, and they work a treat. Obviously, you have got to get some kind of signal into the wireless. Now, I record using Cubase on Windows. Cubase needs to see an ASIO driver, and Microsoft has not got Windows into the 21st century yet, so we can't use different input and output devices. I found a piece of software called Voicemeeter. Voicemeeter is free to download. It's donationware, so if you find it useful and you use it, you can pay a small fee to continue with it. Now, what Voicemeeter does is Cubase sees it as an ASIO driver, and then within the software, I can set it up so that the inputs are the inputs of my actual RME audio device, and for the outputs, I simply point it to Windows kernel streaming, which is the thing that knows about Bluetooth. There are a couple of other options if you don't fancy playing about with your drivers, and I actually got these from an article in Sound on Sound this month. One, I've just got a note of them here. I haven't used these, but they look as though they should do the job. One is from Rogue Amoeba, and it's called Airfoil, which is Mac only, and then there's Sound on Digital's Mix to Mobile, which is cross-platform. And these appear to be plugins that you could put at the end of your mix bus, or that you could put in Cubase Pro on your control room outputs, and they send wirelessly out to an app on your phone, and then you can distribute out to your earbuds or whatever. So let's just be realistic for a moment. A set of 30 dB attenuation ear defenders is not going to take 115 dB of screaming Marshall and turn it into something that's whisper quiet. But it's going to take the edge off it, it is going to protect your hearing, and it's going to make it a lot easier to concentrate on what you're doing. If £20 seems like too much, you can actually pick up alternatives off-brand for as little as £10 that, if not as good as these, will probably go a long way towards helping. So If this is useful, if you try it and it works, if you try it, it doesn't work, if you've got any questions or comments, please stick them down below. I'd love to read them, and if there's anything that I can help with, happy to try to do so. So until next time, look after yourselves. I'm Andy Picker, and hey, I'll see you then. Bye for now.